Hello, and welcome back to my channel today. I'm going to show a couple of ways of using masking fluid to create sparkling water with watercolor. I'm going to use this masking fluid called Fineline. I call it Fineliner because it has a very fine tip. One method is to apply it with a brush, and the other method is to apply it with a needle that this masking fluid comes with. And this is what it looks like. You don't need a lot of masking fluid. I'd probably pour too much and it will start to set when it's in a cup. The setup that I have is 2 little containers of water, and these are just measuring cups that come with cough syrup plus a bar of soap. Use an inexpensive brush. This is a Royal Lanickel, part of a set I purchased many years ago from Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure they're available anymore. This has a fairly fine brush tip on it. I'm working small, so that's why I chose a brush with a fine tip. You want to use an inexpensive brush just in case you ruin it. In fact, Cheap Joe sells a brush called the Ugly Brush that used to be $5. Though that's a pre-pandemic price. I don't know what it is now. Anyway, if you ruin it, you're not out of a lot of money. The first step is to wet the brush and get it soapy. And this allows the masking fluid to stick to the bristles but not stick permanently. Dip the brush in water and soap, then wipe the brush on a tissue a little bit so it's not super soapy. Now dip your brush into the masking fluid and apply it to the paper like you're applying paint. This is a mini composition. I'm going to imagine that the sun is on the left, outside the composition, and the light fades as you go to the right. I'm going to make these sparkles in sort of the shape of a V. That's because it's generally what you see when you're looking at sparkles of water in nature. You'll want different shapes. Make some lines, make some little dots, and you can see I'm continuing to work my way down the page building the V. Get some soap, rinse it out, dab the brush just a little bit on the tissue, get some more masking fluid. In this way, you can continue to have masking fluid fresh on your brush without the danger of ruining your brush. You can see here how the dots of masking fluid are starting to look like the shape of a V. Even though I'm aiming for the shape of a V, it can look good to make some lines a little away from the V, more towards the right of the page. I'm going to cheat here and just dip the brush directly into the masking fluid without soap. You can do that a few times and then you'll start to feel the masking fluid set up on the brush. I'm trying to put more dots towards the horizon because the waves have an illusion of being closer together, farther from the shore, farther from the viewer. Make it most intense in the center. Okay, I can feel the masking fluid to start to dry on my brush. And that's probably all that I need now. It'll take about 15 minutes to dry. The second way that I'm going to apply masking fluid is using the needle on this fine liner. I like to do a little test to make sure that it's flowing well, particularly if I've used it the day before. There could be a little bit of water in the needle, and that will dilute the masking fluid a bit. You want to make sure that it's flowing and that there are no bubbles. Now it's just a matter of dotting on these little shapes. Similar to what I did before with the brush, I'm going to make a triangular shape. A little irregular perhaps, like you would see in nature. I'm making lines and dots like I did before. You can see how the triangular shape is turning out a little bit irregular, like you'd see in nature. Notice that there's a blue color to the masking fluid, which I like, and that makes it easy to see where you've put it. I think that's pretty good. Maybe I'll put a little bit more in here. Okay, so I'll simply put the cap on for now. One of the things about this particular product is that because the needle's so fine, it's really important to clean it right away or the needle will clog with masking fluid and ruin it. I have an old bottle that never had any masking fluid in it that I've put water in. Transfer the needle onto this bottle of water and squirt the water into a container of water. Oops, I just spilled water all over my paper. I'll mop that up in a little bit. And this is where you have to be a little bit patient. It takes a little while to squeeze enough of the water through the needle. And I try not to release the bottle until I'm as far as I can get, probably about halfway. If you get a good flow through the needle, you know you're doing it right and there are no clogs in the needle. And that was about as far as I could go. I'm just going to mop this up. Let me just pop this up and that'll be good enough until I get to the sink. We'll let the masking fluid dry.